Hey there, friends of St. Paul's. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, and we are continuing our journey through Revelation today. We are in chapter 21 of Revelation, where we read, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for their husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'See, the home of God is among mortals. God will dwell with them, and they will be God's peoples, and God will be with them. God will wipe every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Mourning and crying and pain will be no more, for the first things have passed away.' And the one who was seated on the throne said, 'See, I am making all things new.' The one on the throne also said, 'Write this, for these words are trustworthy and true,' and then said to me, 'It is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I'll give water as a gift from the spring of the water of life.'" Revelation is a word that can also be translated apocalypse. The Greek word apocalypsis and revelation are the same. And we have a really messy association with the word apocalypse. Usually we think about zombies and the end of the world in a frightening science fiction genre. But really what apocalypse means is uncovering. Over the past few years, and really probably over the course of all of our lives, things have gotten uncovered in our society, maybe within our own consciousness. A lot of people have come to renewed understandings about the issues surrounding racism and systemic oppression in our world. Many of us have become acutely aware of the divisions that exist in our fractured communities and the hate that pervades our society. These sorts of apocalypse, these uncoverings, can be really uncomfortable for us because they're upsetting. Usually things are uncovered, we have to look at them and determine what to do next, and that can be really challenging. But I'm so grateful that Revelation uncovers the messiness of the world. Their particular world is the Roman Empire, especially when Nero was in charge, but also gives us a roadmap for when these harmful things are uncovered in our world. What does God have to say about that? What does God have to do with that? In this text from chapter 21, we have an incredible vision of God triumphing over evil, which results in a new existence, a new reality, a renewed city, a renewed world. I love this text. It is really hard to be a human sometimes. Recently here in Milwaukee, we've experienced increased gun violence and other types of challenges and just violence and frustration among so many citizens and residents. It's been really hard for peace to prevail in many communities. And people may be feeling tired or hopeless or afraid. And I love reading, "See, the home of God is among mortals." As all of these challenges are revealed, also God's home among us is revealed. That God will be with God's people, will wipe every tear from our eyes, that death will be no more, mourning, crying, pain will be no more. These visions are not far off, distant future realities because of the resurrection of Jesus and God's ultimate triumph over death that has already taken place, that we live in the ripples of throughout our whole life. These promises are now too, breaking in all around us. Anytime peace prevails, anytime a parent wipes the tears from their child's eyes, anytime we realize or experience God's presence among us, among mortals, the home of God is among us. These Revelation visions are coming to life. And here at the end of the text, God says in the vision, "I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end." There's so much incredible hope in this text, that throughout the context of our lives, from beginning to end and everything in between, God is present. Alpha and Omega are not just A and Z, but A to Z. The entire spectrum of human experience is part of God's reality with us. God shares our experience. We see that in the person of Christ, but also in these beautiful visions from Revelation. So I really hope that these Wednesday conversations about Revelation are helping you feel hopeful and maybe get more comfortable with this book of the Bible. And that this week, this vision of a new heaven and a new earth might help you in the midst of some challenging circumstances to glimpse the resurrection of God among us, whose home is among mortals.